Let's talk politics now. And the NDC is getting all set for its campaign ahead of 2020. And of course, the flag bearership race is beginning to see some momentum. Some have taken off, others are yet to start. And you can certainly see the huge impact it is making as far as the party is concerned. My guest this morning is one of the persons who is asking the delegates to make him lead the party into election 2020. Dr. Ekwow Spio-Garbrah is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
Excellent. By God's grace.
You've started campaigning.
Absolutely.
How is it going?
Fantastic. Very good. The delegates have not had people come to visit them seeking the flag bearership in at least 8 years or more. That's what they tell me, because in 2012 there was no contest for the NDC flag bearership when President Atamios unfortunately was called into eternity and President Mahama inherited the presidency. There was a view that there was not much time for campaigning and
to allow people to
contest. So we all allowed President Mahama to go ahead and no contest. 2016, President Mahama was a sitting president. Again, there was a view that it would be awkward to contest against your sitting president, to create divisions in the party. So all these now 9 or 10 people who could have been candidates then all accepted and allowed him to have no contest access to the presidency. Now we lost the 2016 election and the party is reflecting on its losses and looking for ways to correct the losses. The delegates, when I interact with them, themselves tell me, when I ask them which are the 2 or 3 main reasons why we lost 2016, they say, well, we were accused of being incompetent by MPP, and we're also accused of being corrupt by MPP. And so I said, well, so what is the solution to that? And I said, well, we must make an effort to find a candidate who is neither corrupt nor someone who can be deemed to be incompetent. And I said, well, then I'm here to answer to those particular concerns, because by God's grace, in 25 years of serving this country in numerous positions, in 4 ministerial portfolios: education, communication, trade and industry, and mines and energy, as ambassador to the United States, as chairman of several boards, including the National Communication Authority Board, the VAT Value Added Tax Board, the Ghana Free Zones Board, etc., etc. Not a single whiff, not a single whisper of financial malfeasance or corruption has been ever reflected or alleged in my direction.
Spio-Garbrah.
Number 2, in terms of competence, based on these places I've worked, and having worked for the 4 most important international organizations whose work affects Ghana: the United Nations as a board member of UNESCO, the African Development Bank as head of communication for the whole world of the bank based in Abidjan, at the International Finance Corporation within the World Bank Group, and at the Commonwealth Telecom Organization, where I was the chief executive officer, the first African in 100 years to get that position. I think I've demonstrated more than adequate competence for most Ghanaians and the international community to observe. So on those 2 grounds of competence
you stand
and corruption,
tall among the candidates.
That is what the delegates are telling me.
The NDC lost the elections in 2016. It's not individuals in the party. You are a member of that government. So how do you take yourself out?
I don't take myself out. I was part of the government, but I think everybody recognizes that when you go to a war and you lose the war, there are generals who sat in the control room and took decisions. There were those who were the colonels and majors on particular battlefields. So you can see that an army has lost a war generally. But then maybe General Rommel or somebody was very effective in a particular wing of the war and did very well in that area and overtook the troops and overtook some hills or whatever it is that he achieved. So people have observed me personally working in a government. Even a team that loses a soccer match, somebody may have scored a goal in that team that lost the match.
So you're the star of that team?
No, not necessarily the star. There are many other stars. Some of them are also coming up as flag bearer candidates. Some may be stars who just choose not to present themselves for leadership of the party. But I'm saying that when it comes to the issues of competence and corruption, our delegates say, I am the man. But the third issue that they're also dealing with is that the party needs total rebranding. It must present a new and improved NDC for the people of Ghana to take us seriously. How do we do that? And the rebranding, when I ask them, what professions do rebranding? Is it doctors? Is it engineers? Is it dentists? Is it chemical weapon makers? They say, no. They use the word marketers, communicators, advertising people. And it turns out, almost by accident or by God's own divine decision, that I am the one amongst the group who has practical experience, provable experience in taking brands in this country whether it's Accra Brewery Club products, when I was 21, 22 years old, working for the second largest advertising agency in Ghana, and turning them around, whether it's State Insurance Corporation, whether it was Pfizer, Danafco, Ford Motor Cars, Firestone Products, British Airways, then British Caledonian, Lufthansa, Alitalia. I've done all those things in Ghana. Then went to the United States and now branded whole countries. So the government of Indonesia, the government of Austria, the government of Turkey, the government of the Netherlands would come to my company, Hill and Knowlton, then the largest communications company in the whole world, with over 1,000 professionals, 44 offices in 33 countries, and me, the only African amongst them, first ever recruited in 1979. And we're doing these things. So branding and rebranding has been part of my profession.
And that's what you intend to use to,
and that's
to
why when the value-added tax was suspended in 1995, because Ghanaians, through the current president, Kumi Preku, Siemi Preku, Yemi Preku, when I became Minister of Communications, President only said, look, this task actually belongs to the Ministry of Finance, but you are supposed or presumed to be an expert. Take this matter up and convince Ghanaians that VAT is actually good for them. In 18 months, I led the committee, it included John Mahama, to convince Ghanaians in 18 months that VAT is good for them. And when VAT was introduced in December 1998, not a pin dropped, no demonstration. So I've proven my capacity to turn around a product that people rejected, such as NDC, and get them to accept it, which I can do for NDC as a flag bearer.
And so the NDC was branded incompetent, was branded as a corrupt party. How do you intend to fix this?
Well, first of all, we must get a candidate who cannot be accused of that, because the 2016
the delegates will vote for you based on what they know you can do.
And I've just summarized some of what I can do, and they also know some of the things I can do, and I can keep talking to them until they know more of what I can do. So I'm saying that 2016 is past. We had a candidate then, he was branded a certain way. We may not have effectively defended ourselves. We are going to 2020. I am saying we need a candidate who cannot be accused of the things that our previous candidate or candidates were accused of. Whether it was justified or not,
suggesting that
another matter.
Former President Mahama was incompetent, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the MPP accused our party and its leadership of corruption and incompetence.
Right.
It was up to us and the leadership to prove otherwise. It seems to Ghanaians that we did not prove it sufficiently, and that led to our loss. Coming back, we must present a new and improved soap, or a new and improved beer, a new and improved toothpaste, whatever the product is that has been rejected. You can't just bring the same product back in the same form without a new and improved. And that is the work of branding. I don't believe so. I personally don't believe so, because we're in the government and I haven't seen any allegation of corruption being proven yet against the party. No, I'm saying no allegations. There were many allegations. So we heard about brass branding. We heard about the Ford Motor Car. We heard about Jida, Sada, Suba. We had many things we heard. But as a government official, if those things are not in my ministry, I wouldn't know the truth of those allegations. So we heard about those allegations, and I'm saying MPP has chosen not yet to bring those cases, and many people actually fear in our party. The delegates tell me that they believe MPP is waiting to see who we bring in as our flag bearer. Then they'll flood us with the allegations and the actual cases that are being, researched and reviewed by Martinamidu and others in the Attorney General's Department, Yoko. And then 2019, instead of us having a positive campaign, we'll be spending our time in a reverse exercise of fighting allegations against somebody they may bring allegations against.
And so in your
that's
case,
why you need a candidate against whom they don't have any allegations.
That's you.
That is me.
Why not Professor Alabi? Why not Mr.
They must come and present themselves. I'm saying I'm a candidate against whom there are no allegations and no evidence of any corrupt practice while in government for 25 years. If they also have such records, it's up to them to come and present themselves. I'm talking to delegates. I'm not telling them about any other candidates. When I go, I'm very careful. I'm not there to attack anybody. You may have watched, my campaign team has never attacked any other candidate. But in the nature of the contest, you may have to refer to other people's names or titles or positions, as we've done on this program. But I've said, I don't have any evidence against any colleague of any wrongdoing. But it is NPP who made those allegations and who are also collecting the evidence. They say, for example, that some parliamentarians collected double salary. Have you heard that? Do you have personal evidence that an MP collected double salary? I don't have personal evidence of it. These MPs and former ministers and deputies are NDC members. They are my colleagues. They are my friends. But I don't have evidence against them. But NDP say they have the evidence, and they'll be bringing the evidence. And they have chosen not to bring it now. But if you are one of those candidates and you are elected and they choose to bring it during 2019, 2020, when we should be campaigning aggressively, you are the underdog. You are the opposition party. You should be taking the campaign to your opponents. And instead of taking your campaign to the opponents and pointing out the $20,000 that it takes to see the president, or the $100,000 that it takes to sit by him, or the 5, or the 5, 4, and 3, 2, 1 football formula that Nyantichi talked about when you want a contract in Ghana, we will spend our time defending various indefensible, possibly indefensible allegations or court proceedings. It is a matter of concern to our party delegates.
Is this to suggest that the former president won't be a good candidate?
Of course, there are many people in our party who think so, and there are others who think he will be a good candidate for different reasons. Those who think he's a good candidate, he has appointed them as deputy ministers and ministers. Nobody who has not been president has had a chance to appoint somebody as a chief executive officer of a state enterprise or chairman of a board or as a deputy minister or a minister. So when some MPs come out and say they support any former president who has helped them,
you're not worried?
I can't be concerned. I mean, I appreciate their position. Many of them tell you privately that, well, you know the situation, we have to do this, but our vote may be different.
Is funding a challenge as far as your campaign is concerned? Some have said that
yes.
Mr. Mahama has what it takes as far as providing logistics to take the party to...
But it's a very, with all due respect, a lazy way of thinking about a campaign. No one person anywhere in the world will have all the money that it takes to run any campaign in any country. So even the Donald Trumps and all that take support and contributions from other people. He organizes $1,000 and $10,000 a plate dinners to help him. Obama notably had, very little money, living in a very small two-bedroom apartment in Chicago, but he raised over $800 million because he was a credible candidate. So NDC has the choice of putting in front a credible candidate so that 1,000 or 10,000 businessmen can bring 10,000 or 100,000 each to support that candidate.
And that's where you're getting.
That is where I am coming from. Or put their faith in any one person that they think, oh, he has the money already, so let's go and bring him. I cannot say a former public appointee in the NDC government, whether it was President Mahama or any minister, has a lot of money, when I know that they've been mostly salaried workers most of their lives. And the minister's salary was 9,000 cedis. President's salary was about 12,000 cedis. It's been revised upwards to about 22,000 for the president and maybe 15 or 16,000 for a minister. How does anybody on those salaries somehow become somebody who has all that kind of money? So NDC is better off finding a candidate that the people of Ghana, the business community, who I interact with on a daily basis.
But not one who has the resources.
Well, you can have resources and health. It doesn't hurt to have resources. But people will ask you, how did you get those resources? If it's true, you have them in those large quantities. You need $50 million to $100 million these days to run a national election and hopefully win. If any one person says he has that money and who served in NDC, well, then that person has to convince Ghanaians where and how he got that money. But I believe that there's $100 million or more waiting for NDC if we select a good candidate that the business community will support.
Like
I am the person they are supporting right now.
The business community is behind you, but if you look at the race, Professor Alabi has gotten some endorsement from big wigs in the party. Mr. Mahama same. You seem to be on the ground. You're not worried.
The fact is that people forget that when it comes to democracy and elections, the thumbprint of the Queen of England or the Shah of Iran or the King of Saudi Arabia is one. And the thumbprint of a Kayayo or a mechanic, who also is a delegate, is one. So I'm looking for numbers, not for prestigious endorsements of 2 people or 3 people who may or may not even be delegates.
They do not work?
But I appreciate the endorsement of anybody, and those who are getting endorsements.
You're suggesting they don't work, endorsement don't work?
I'm saying the endorsements may have a role.
Right.
But they cannot overturn the anger and frustration of hundreds of thousands of NDC members who have now swept through branch elections. Over 60 to 70% of our former branch executives have been swept away. About 70 to 80% of some constituency executives have been swept away. So the old order changes, giving way to the new. There's a wind of fresh air blowing through the party from the base, the branches, all the way through the constituency executives, through the regional executives, and all the way through the flag bearership. So you can find some regional chairmen are not even standing anymore. There are members of parliament who have even declared that they will not stand anymore. There are many other people in the party who are trying to change their position from one position to another at the national headquarters or at the regional level. And that all means there's going to be change. Change is a difficult thing for most human beings. It can be a painful process for most human beings. And yet without change, no country moves forward. So NDC must also change. Change may be difficult because we get used to what we are comfortable with. We have a comfort zone. We are used to what we know. So let's go with what we know. But even if what we know may be a former president, we also have somebody like myself who stood for the leadership of the party in 2006. So in 2006, I had the honor and privilege of going around the whole country to campaign to be a leader of the party. In 2010, I also became a vice chairman of the party. Again, I had to go around the whole country to campaign to be a vice chairman of the party. And currently, I'm going around the country to campaign. Some people haven't had that opportunity or that privilege to even campaign at constituency level. They don't know how our constituencies are organized and what offices they have or don't have. Most constituencies do not have an office. 16 years of being in power, NDC. You've built roads and e-blocks and hospitals and bridges, and our constituency executives are saying, where has all that money gone to? It has gone to private pockets and private bank accounts, and the party itself has been left as a hollow shell where we can't even pay salaries of our headquarters staff and put electricity on and pay our bills. And
that's what you intend to change.
NDC executives want somebody who will be their party leader, who will strengthen the party itself.
The founder of the party you're trying to lead on good terms with you?
Very good terms. Everybody knows I'm on very good terms with President Rawlings. People call me his this, his that. But I mean, we have on very good terms. I've respected him because people forget that all President Rawlings keeps saying, which we don't like to listen to, is that please, I established a party and I put a certain number of names on the front porch of that building. Integrity, probity, and accountability. I want to see my ministers, my presidents, following those precepts. It's like any pastor or any bishop who comes to preach the word of God and the 10 commandments and what thou shalt do and what thou shalt not do. And many Christians, we are all sinners. The bishop himself may agree to be that he's a sinner, but we are all trying to do well to earn the, our inheritance in heaven. The Muslims also have the same thing. So if you have a malam or an imam who is preaching Quran and he says you should fast 1 month in a year, you should also pray 5 times a day. You should try and go to Mecca. And some people don't like it. They may blame the imam or the malam instead of themselves.
Great. We're getting ready to wrap up our conversation, but now you're going into a contest. You were reported to have said that you're prepared to take another position in case you lost, which you have denied ever saying that.
No,
but yes, you have denied saying that.
Absolutely.
What is your ultimate for you?
The position that is vacant is the flag bearership of the NDC, which leads to the presidency of Ghana. There's no position vacant for Deputy General Manager of TV3. Then you apply for it. The advertisement, the paper says, we want a General Manager at TV3. Then you go and apply for Deputy General Manager. It doesn't make sense. Your application will be thrown away. So the position available is the presidency of Ghana in 2020 through parties such as NDC who must elect their own leaders. So I'm seeking to be the leader of the NDC, and I've been second in a race of this nature 12 years ago.
Right.
So going by what some of the delegates say is the practice in other fields of endeavor. You're a beauty queen, and they find you having been involved in pornography, they withdraw the crown from you, they give it to the number 2. If you're a gold medalist in the Olympic Games and they find you having taken drugs, they give it to the runner-up. But we are already a constitution. The constitution requires that if a president dies, his vice president inherits the crown. And that's what happened in 2012 when President Mills died. But other than for that constitutional process, there were those who will argue that I ought to have been the natural front runner. But any president who comes into a race, as President Mahama has done, starts off as the front runner. Okay. Without any question.
So that's what
we all have to catch up in one way or the other.
Your party said from the onset that this is a campaign they are hoping to see it being very decorous and decent. The comments by some of your competitors, let me put it that way. For instance, Mr. Bagmin about people with disabilities, in good taste?
I will not use those words. I respect everybody, irrespective of their physical, mental, spiritual, or financial disabilities. Because all of us, as we sit here, we have various disabilities, some of which are visible, others are not visible. So somebody may have a disability in personality, a disability in character, a disability in his spirit. You can't see it. So I will not use somebody's physical disability against it, but I think the Constitution of Ghana itself protects the interests of those with disability, and we have even ministers that are expected, or ministries that are expected to support people with disability. I wouldn't say those things, but that's what
should
he
the
has
party
chosen to say.
sanction such persons who
The party
engage in
headquarters knows all the rules that they have to engage people who do things against party rules. But there are people in the party headquarters who have also been breaking many of these rules since last year, supporting one candidate openly, repeatedly, and the party has not sanctioned such people.
And
so
you don't like that?
No, it weakens the party's
Where you
own
find a party national organizer, for instance,
procedures.
supporting one candidate, you don't like
and
that?
I'm saying that the party headquarters must show they have teeth. If they don't show they have teeth in respect of one person, then they lose the moral capacity to then attack another person who may do the same thing. That's why I have cautioned all those very senior members of the party, members of the Council of Elders, members of the National Executive Committee who support me, that please, you hold your support. You don't need to come out and endorse me. Help me in the ways that we've agreed, and let's go around and get a job done.
What is wrong with party executives supporting a candidate they feel can work well for the party?
They can do that, but not declare it publicly, because it distorts the thinking of the rank and file, who may be in Waliwale, Bumprugu, Asakrangwa, Chito, and may not know why Mr. A or B is saying he supports Y or Z, even if they explain it. It distorts their thinking. So leave them think independently. Let the delegates or the candidates in our case go and present ourselves to these delegates. Let them measure us up. Let them see our strengths and our weaknesses as they perceive them, and let them take their decisions independently. It's what most people that support democratic practice will encourage.
You go out there and speak to delegates. Now, from what they tell you and what you have for them, is Dr. Spio-Garbrah the person they will pick?
I believe so, because I'm the only one who has presented to them a 7-point agenda for strengthening.
So let's talk about that
NDC.
7-point. That's what was going. The party has a huge tag. You have said it.
Right.
The tag of incompetence, the tag of corruption. The
Not
7
true,
points.
but that's
yes.
presented by
How
NPP.
do you wipe that?
No, I don't wipe that through
with a 7-point agenda.
Not through strengthening the party structure. That's different. I wipe that by presenting myself as somebody who cannot be reasonably accused of incompetence and corruption by the MPP. That's how I present myself on those particular tasks. But as far as 7-point agenda, strengthening the party structures. You go around the country and party constituency executives are meeting under trees in old school buildings, in somebody's backyard, etc. They don't have any offices. Even the party headquarters in Accra can't pay its bills. Regional office, which used to be the party headquarters in Accra, for Greater Accra, has difficulty paying various bills. And they all have arrears all over the place. So they wonder, how come we've been in office for 16 years as a party? We've built so many schools and so many hospitals, and people have made all kinds of money from the party, but the party structures have not been attended to. That is the main problem of the party. So
that's what
I say I will help the party to build constituency offices. I will help us create welfare committees at the regional level, at the national level, at the constituency level, to help those of our members who need various kinds of help, because everybody needs help. I will help to develop business development committees. One of the weaknesses of NDC is that because we came from a left-of-center revolution background, people don't either know, believe, or practice business. If you go to any party meeting of 50 people, you ask them, how many of you own a business? Less than 10% will raise their hands. We need a party like NPP who have a lot of business people, who are entrepreneurs, who can stand on their own feet, who are not looking just for government contracts or handouts or appointments to survive. I've talked about the party's women's wing, which is to be very, very strong under President Rawlings and Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, where 31st December Women's Movement had over 1 million members at a certain time. But the women were strong because they had been taught income-generating activities, how to do batik and tie and dye, and to do rabbit rearing and beekeeping, and fish farming and zomi making and gari processing, all kinds of little things to keep them financially strong. And then they came and strengthened the party. But the MPP came through 12 different agencies against the 31st December movement between 2001 and 2005 and basically crippled it. Everybody was attacking the SHRAD, SFO, BNI, CID, all regional administrations, all district chief executives. Anyway, so that's another movement. Then also a credit union for the NDC. NDC needs its own financial institution. A credit union is a very simple type of body. I helped to strengthen the one at the Action Chapel when I was chief executive officer. I was a member of the credit union of the World Bank, which almost every World Bank staff member, IMF, all have their bank accounts in. Everybody who joins the credit union is also a shareholder of the credit union. When their profits is distributed to you. So you can have your bank account wherever you want, but you keep 500, 300, 700, 2,000 cedis in the NDC credit union to strengthen the NDC and help the NDC also come to do various things to strengthen the party.
And that is what will translate into vote for the party.
It will translate to strengthening the party, which if you have the right candidate or candidates, adding members of parliament as well, translate into votes. Yes.
In 2016, the party pursued a campaign strategy. What was wrong with it, and how would you pursue a new strategy if you get the nod?
I asked NDC delegation and meet them, please tell me what was NDC's message for the people of Ghana in 2016. 50 people in the room. In fact, 58 communicators were in Ashanti region 2 weeks ago when I met them on a Friday. You are communicators, so you should know what NDC communicated. Please tell me what NDC told the people of Ghana in 2016 they would do for them. Total silence. I'm telling you. They are there. You can ask them. Nobody could tell me what NDC itself said they couldn't. I've asked that question.
They couldn't remember?
They couldn't remember. And when I asked them, what about MPP? And they all remember MPP promises. One they said one factory, one this, one this. One. That's okay. So you see what the problem was. We had a campaign, and whatever our messages were, we ourselves in NDC cannot remember. And anybody can test what I'm just saying anywhere they want in Ghana. That NDC members, NDC executives cannot repeat and recite what NDC's promises were in 2016. So if you can't recite it, why would the people of Ghana remember when they go to the polling booth? Of course, we had a manifesto.
Yes,
a very good book,
but
full of
you
big
didn't
English.
take part in shaping that communication strategy?
Well, I was made a member of the NDC Communication Committee, and I think I was appointed somewhere in September, October 2015. By March 2016, I had not been invited to a meeting. So when NDC, 200 of us, all party hierarchy, the top hierarchy, ministers and cabinets went to a retreat in Serena Hotel in Volta region. I stood up at the right time when questions and answers, and I said, I'm supposed to be a member of the political committee of the NDC. I'm also supposed to be a member of the communication committee of the NDC. It's now 6 months since those committees were established. I have not been invited to any meeting. Is anybody going to invite me to a meeting? At the end of the meeting, nobody answered those questions. And I'm telling you that from that day in March 2016 till today, nobody has also invited me to any communication.
You didn't complain again?
And following...
You did not complain
I
again?
did, but I won't tell you where I complained because it was with particular individuals. But this was an open meeting, so at least 200 people heard me commenting on it. And I'm saying till today, even after we've lost election, if there's been a post-mortem meeting of the communication and other committees to find out what went wrong and what went right, I've not been called to offer any minimum or minute knowledge I have. And yet, I'm the only one in that whole organization that has been head of communication of an institution as prominent as the African Development Bank, where the bank recruits around the whole world and looks for the African who can represent it worldwide and defend it and promote it and publicize it and explain its policies. I was the one who did it.
Okay.
So if you have somebody like that in your government who Rollins identified and therefore brought me in to be Minister of Communications when there were 25 or 20 million Ghanaians at the time, I'm in the party. I'm happy to serve. I'm not charging a fee for it. When I do consultancies outside this country, I can be paid $1,000 a day.
I see.
So why would you not use my free services when it's
for
available?
your own party? You're vying for a position that could see you be a potential president of this country. Let me take you to national politics. Ghana putting up a national cathedral. You were once a church administrator. This is a decision you will recommend to a state like Ghana?
I must say that I haven't found where that cathedral is going to be placed. I hear even some judges' buildings have to be destroyed for the cathedral to be built. So,
the Ridge area.
Well,
pull down judges' buildings, the Judicial Institute.
The Parliament is the best
Secretariat.
body to debate such matters because we have to decide, for example, the National Mosque, which I believe is being built somewhere near the Kanda Highway. Was there state funding put into it? What should be the national policy? You have a Ministry of Culture, or at least Commission on Culture, Ministry of Chieftaincy, and such bodies should be tasked with debating the merits or demerits of national mosques, national cathedrals, national shrines, or whatever it is that people believe in Ghana. It's a matter of faith. And whether the government should be supporting people go to Mecca, for example, whether it should support people going to religious pilgrimages in Israel if they are Christians, and what other faiths we have. So this is not a matter which one could resolve on a television program.
You would take decisions on running an economy. You put up some buildings 5 years ago. Would you take a decision to pull down those buildings and put in its place a national cathedral?
Well, I would say that cost of building any project and the funding sources are all important in determining what you do. I don't know the funding sources for the National Cathedral. Is it taxpayers' money? Is it voluntary contribution from churches? Is it philanthropic money from overseas? I don't know that. And so, when there's land. Is it state land? Is it private land? So there are many projects that require removing one building in order to put another building there. But whether a national cathedral deserves to remove 12 judges' buildings to put there. I'm not in a state to give you an opinion today. I like to read opinions of men and women who have had the opportunity to reflect on it from a circumferential point of view. I believe in what I call circumferential thinking, where you look at the problem from all sides: the religious dimension, the financial dimension, the land dimension, the relocation of people dimension, and whatever other dimensions there might be.
My final question: You said you win the
by
race.
God's grace, always by God's
if you
grace,
don't win,
only by God's grace.
If you don't win,
I intend to win. By
but
God's
if you
grace,
don't win,
I intend to win. I think President Mahama said something which I think all other flag bearer candidates will say, that he said he will support whoever the NDC elects as his flag bearer. And I think all of us can commit to support whoever the NDC elects as his flag bearer, because we have supported previous flag bearers when they were elected. We supported President Mahama. I printed T-shirts with his image and the image of parliamentarians. So I give to over 100 parliamentarians. I give the motorbikes and money from funds that I raised from various sources.
So if you don't
I did the
win,
same for President
would you support
Mills
when I didn't win. Position if
when
you don't
President Mills won the flag bearership in 2006,
Dr. Spio-Garbrah, if you don't
I
win,
will
would you
win
support
the election
position?
and I will support whoever becomes the flag bearer.
But if you don't win, would you agree
I intend to win. I intend to win. Thank you very much.
He's vying for the flag bearership of the NEC, Dr. Ekwow Spio-Garbrah. I'm grateful for your time with us this morning.
So much,
and thank you there for staying here with us. A new day is wrapping up. We're back same time tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I was here with Nanama, Dr. Nanama Ajiman and Johnny Hughes. My name is Bright Nanavo. Have a wonderful morning and stay right here on TV Radio.
Fire burn the enemy, oh. Now I'm making the paper. Ojan show Babylon fool. Only young person,